What if the person you trusted most was the one who pulled the trigger? This is the haunting story of Emily Carter, a 17-year-old girl betrayed by her own brother in a crime that left an entire nation shattered. Her own bloodline betrayed her, a family murder that shook the nation long. Emily Carter was the kind of young woman people didn't just like, they adored. 17 years old, bright-eyed, with a soft smile that lit up even the dullest room. Her teachers said she was one of those rare students who didn't just chase grades, she lifted up everyone around her. She sang in her school's choir, tutored younger kids in math, and dreamed of becoming a pediatric nurse. But what truly set Emily apart was her heart. She was gentle, the kind of girl who baked cookies for her neighbors, just because. She was the glue in a family that had already faced its share of struggles. A father who worked double shifts at the factory, a mother fighting to keep food on the table, and an older brother who had begun drifting into darker paths. That brother's name was Daniel. To the outside world, Daniel was just another 22-year-old trying to figure life out. But behind closed doors, Daniel was slipping. He had dropped out of college, fallen into the lure of drugs and late-night parties, and most dangerously, into debt with the wrong people. And while Emily was building a life full of promise, Daniel's world was collapsing. What no one knew was that their two lives, so different, were about to collide in the most tragic and unforgivable way. Because one March evening, in the very living room they grew up playing in as children, Daniel would pick up a gun and betray his bloodline forever. The Carter household had always been tight-knit. Sunday dinners, family movie nights, birthday cakes made from scratch. Emily, the youngest, often sat between her mom and dad at the table, while Daniel hovered near the edges, present but distant. By 2022, the gap between brother and sister had grown wider. Emily was applying to nursing programs, excited to leave for college. Daniel, on the other hand, was being evicted from his apartment and had been caught stealing money from their mother's purse. Still, Emily defended him. She believed, deep down, that Daniel could turn things around. She even wrote in her journal, "When he's ready, I'll help him study. I'll help him get back on track. That's what family does." But Daniel didn't see her kindness as love. He saw it as a mirror, one that reflected back everything he wasn't. By March, tensions were boiling. Neighbors would later recall shouting matches that pierced the quiet nights. Daniel accusing his parents of loving Emily more. Emily pleading with him to stop destroying himself. Their mother crying in the kitchen. The night of March 12th began like any other. Emily had just come home from a choir rehearsal. She sat at the table, scrolling through her phone, humming softly. Daniel stormed in, high and angry, demanding money from their mother. When she refused, his rage turned toward Emily. "You think you're so perfect," he spat. Emily tried to calm him. "Danny, please, let's just..." But Daniel's mind was already unraveling. He went to his room, slammed the door, and returned minutes later with his father's handgun. The argument escalated into chaos. Emily stood up, frightened but determined to shield her mother. And in a single moment of rage, Daniel pulled the trigger. The sound echoed through the house. Emily collapsed to the floor, her lifeblood spilling onto the carpet where she had once played as a child. Her mother's scream was the kind that neighbors say they will never forget. The police arrived within minutes. Daniel was still there, pacing, muttering incoherently. He didn't run. He didn't fight. He just stared at his hands, as if the weight of what he had done hadn't yet registered. Emily was rushed to the hospital, but the bullet wound was fatal. At just 17 years old, the girl who had dreamed of healing others could not be saved herself. The Carter family's world collapsed overnight. A mother lost her daughter and, in many ways, her son too. A father was left standing in the hospital hallway, unable to process how the child he once taught to ride a bike could become a killer. The trial began 6 months later, and the story gripped the nation. It wasn't just another case of senseless violence. It was blood turning against blood. A betrayal so deep that it forced everyone watching to question how well we really know the ones closest to us. In court, Daniel appeared cold, detached. He blamed drugs, stress, even his parents. But when Emily's journal entries were read aloud, the room shifted. Words filled with love, hope, and forgiveness, words she had written about saving her brother, now stood as haunting echoes of the sisterly bond Daniel had destroyed. And then came the moment that silenced the entire courtroom. Emily's mother took the stand. Through tears, she looked at her son and said, "I gave birth to both of you, but that night, I lost you both." It was not anger that shook the courtroom, but grief. A grief so heavy it seemed to press against everyone's chest. The jury took less than 3 hours to deliver their verdict. Guilty of second-degree murder. Daniel was sentenced to 35 years in prison. The Carter family will never be the same. The home where Emily once baked cookies now sits quiet, filled only with memories. Her high school choir dedicated their spring concert to her, leaving her chair empty but covered in flowers. But the story didn't just stay local. It spread across the nation, sparking conversations about family, addiction, and the silent struggles that often remain hidden until it's too late. At her memorial service, a teacher shared something Emily once wrote in an essay. "I believe family means fighting for each other, even when it's hard, even when they don't fight for themselves." Those words now live on as both a testament to her love and a warning of the tragic irony that took her life. Because in the end, Emily Carter didn't die at the hands of a stranger. She died at the hands of her own brother, the very person she refused to give up on. And that is why this story haunts us. Because if betrayal can come from blood, from the person we trust most, then who truly can we trust? Daniel Carter sits in prison today, serving his sentence. But letters he has written from behind bars reveal a chilling mindset, one that suggests he may not feel the remorse the world hopes he does. And some even fear he might one day walk free. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and hit the subscribe button for more chilling video.